What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, giving you guys a quick market watch. Gonna update you on what's happening in the secondary market. So there were a couple of things that happened about a week ago. Gold Series Infinite Gold was released. That obviously had a huge impact on the secondary markets. A lot of prices have just absolutely plummeted. And then there was YCS Las Vegas, and with Las Vegas, we got a better look at the meta, before the new ban list drops. So there's going to be, some price fluctuations based on that event and based on the decks that make it the day two and what exactly like the meta breakdown is. So I just want to give you guys a quick look at what exactly is happening before we get our new ban list, and that will obviously affect the secondary market more. So what I was just talking about with Infinite Gold has had a profound impact on the secondary market. I'll show you guys some examples. If you look at a card like Rubik, Malbranch of the Burning Abyss, this is a card that a lot of Burning Abyss players were running 1 to 2 copies of. Being able to make those Virgils, always pretty good. But this is a card that was sitting just maybe about a month and a half ago at like $15 because it had actually not been reprinted. The only way to get this card was in the new challengers, and it was an ultra rare, and that's pretty much out of print. So with the reprint, you can now get yourself a copy of Rubik for under $1. That's crazy. The ultra rare versions are still going for right around $6 or so, but being able to get this for under $1, that is an absolute steal. Next up is Vector Pendulum. This is a card that is pretty much just been integrated straight into Performer Pals, making the deck Draco Pals once the the Performages got booted out of the deck because their engine pretty much got emergency hit. It got wrecked by the E-ban list. So Vector Pendulum kind of stepped in with Master Pendulum and the Dracos, and at one point Vector Pendulum only being a super rare out of docks was, it was pushing like over $20. And with the reprint, not only has the only copy from Docs, the super rares, dropped down to about $8, give or take a little, between $7 to $8, but you can get the premium gold editions for a flat $2. So premium gold has just been, this has been a blessing. Like, you can just save so much money by getting the premium gold versions of some of these cards. Time Space Trap Hole is another example. This was a card that, because of Rafflesia, it saw a huge spike in play. It was going for about $12. If you were looking at the Megaton version or the one from Duos Alliance, the Duos Alliance one, I think at its height, I want to say at the highest was about $20. It's currently sitting at about $6.50. You can get the reprinted versions from the Megatons. You can get those for a little under $5. But if you go for the premium gold versions, you're going to be spending about $1.50. So again, you're seeing that the gold versions are they're far cheaper than any of the reprints or anything like that. So this is a definite value set. Painful Decision as actually one of the cards going up. It looks like, oddly enough, like a lot of things from Docs actually started to go up in price after Docs. It seems like when Docs first came out, it was all about Dart Destroyer, Dart Destroyer, Dart Destroyer, and then people started seeing the Vector Pendulums and other cards that started going up. Painful Decision has been a card since basically the killing off of Performages and Pals, the full power, and it converting into Draco Pals. This has been a card that people have been using in conjunction with the Dracos. This gets you your copies of Master or Vector or what have you. And this card has been slightly on the rise. If you look at it from the time where people were playing full power Pepe, this is a $5 card because there was just no use for it. Then people integrate the Dracos into the deck, and you just see it's, just increase and increase. Specifically right around the second week of February, because again, this is right when Pepe basically got wrecked by the ban list, became Draco Pals, and you just see the price keep going up and up and up. And I don't know, man, if Pepe or if Draco Pals win another event, we could see this card at $20. I also don't think that this card is on Konami's radar, so I think that there is no chance of this card getting hit. But if Draco Face-Off gets hit, then I don't know. Maybe people won't run the Dracos anymore, so this card could go down in value. I think that this card is largely, its playability and its value is largely attached directly to the Draco as the Dracos as an engine. Right now, they're one of the strongest engines in the game. To the Phantom Knights. Now, this has been incredibly interesting. What's going on with the Phantom Knights as an archetype? You guys know there was a whole bunch of hype and there was a big price spike around Breaksword when Jeff Jones played his deck at the UDS. Like, people were like, "Wow, I guess Phantom Knights are a real good deck." There were a lot of people topping, and then the hype kind of died down. I think a lot of people just got interested because he played it. You had a lot of people who wanted to pick the stuff up. Breaksword pretty much tripled in price, and then yeah, the hype kind of died down. But now it's starting to go back up, and I never understood why the prices started going down because if you looked at Phantom Knights, they were consistently top aiding like regionals and stuff like that. But now that they're starting to be integrated with Burning Abyss and they're getting top fours at YCSs, people are pretty much becoming wise to the fact that this is an incredibly good deck. Like, it's probably maybe even better than Cosmo. Like, it's definitely up there with like Burning Abyss, Monarchs, and Draco Pals and whatnot. And I think that people see Phantom Knights as a very safe investment because if Burning Abyss do get hit, if we get a Dante to 1 or something like that, then it'll be extremely natural or extremely easy for Burning Abyss players to simply slide over to playing Phantom Knights and still be able to maybe run like a Burning Abyss Phantom Knight hybrid. So you're seeing Fogblade. This was a card that wasn't very expensive when it first came out, like $3, and I mean, you even see that it went down. Like, it was, this is like March 18th. It was a $2.15 card, a $2.50 card. I never understood why this card was that cheap to begin with. I mean, it's a searchable Phoenix Chain that summons monsters from the graveyard. Like, this card is going to see play in any deck that runs Phantom Knights at 3 pretty much forever, or until something better comes out. So I never understood why this card was. It's only in print as an ultra rare, so I never understood why the value ever went down. I think this card could easily become, like a standard $10 card or something like that because it's only in Ultra right now. So it's sitting currently at about $8. I think that's a pretty fair price for a card that good. You're seeing Ancient Cloak once again, just like all the other Phantom Knights. Their prices are going up. It's just like Fogblade. It's only in print as an Ultra rare out of Wing Raiders, and this was a huge price spike. You see, this card was sitting at like $5, and then bam, jumped up to $14. Currently sitting at about $12 a copy. So all the Phantom Knight guys are they're definitely on the rise. And then this is probably the most interesting this is basically the Psyframe Lord Omega effect from, High Speed Riders, where you have this one card that comes out in the set, and it's obviously probably the best extra deck monster in the sets, and it's usable in so many decks. Like, Omega was usable in Infernoids, and obviously its core deck, the Psyframes, and then it was used in, variants of like Pepe and whatnot, and you're starting to see that Breaksword is usable in Burning Abyss, and it's usable in any deck that can make rank 3s like Speedroids, and you can obviously throw it into Phantom Knights. It's pretty much staple at like 2 or 3 in that deck, and this baby's sitting at like $47, $48, give or take. So this is probably going to round off at about $50, and since it's only in print in one set, and it's probably not going to get reprinted anytime soon, this will probably hold its value. If Dante gets limited, it will definitely hold its value because, again, I expect all of the Burning Abyss players to simply just, convert themselves over to Phantom Knights, as the decks are very similar. So this is really not that shocking that this card rose up to like $50 because it's the same exact thing as what happened with Omega. And then the last card I want to talk about is Cosmojo. Now, this one was really shocking to me because like even Cosmo players couldn't really decide themselves as like as a community whether this card was like that. They all, acknowledged it was good, but you'd see some versions of Cosmo that ran 3, you'd see some versions that ran none. It was a secret rare, even though secrets are much easier to get, but this was a card that was like $2 at one point. Let's look at the low prices. You see the lows of like $3. I actually pulled one of these at my last regionals. It's just been collecting dust in my binder, and I was like, oh well, I guess I'll never make any money off of this. And out of nowhere, the card is quadrupled its price, even more than that. The card's almost at $15. It's a little over $14. So really interesting for Cosmojo. I think that some of that might have to do with the fact that Cosmos are a lot more achievable now, or you can get the deck a lot easier because of all the reprints. So there may be more Cosmo players, and this is one of the harder to get Cosmo cards as it's only in print in Bosch, and it's a secret rare, so it's not the easiest thing to get. So let me know what you guys think. Incredibly interesting with the Phantom Knights. I guess people are now just realizing they're a really, really great deck, and even more so than any of the other decks that we have in the meta, they're extremely safe. They have practically no cards, in my opinion, that are going to get hit by the ban list, and yeah, man, they're just a very safe pick right now. So thank you guys for watching as always.